Hi dear learned learners, today we will be discussing Functions of a Teacher written by Bertrand Russell. Bertrand Russell was a British philosopher awarded the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1950. Roads to Freedom, Principia Mathematica, Marriage and Morals, The Conquest of Happiness, etc. are the most famous of Russell's work. Principia Mathematica deals with the beauty of mathematics and the others are philosophical works. The Functions of a Teacher is an essay written by him in which he describes the role of teachers as agents of civilization working in this world, making people bold, courageous and learned in whatever has gone and whatever may come. The views expressed by Russell in this essay are very relevant and current more than ever in the present day world. These views are not something originated from the speculating mind of just a philosophic writer, but the seasoned and the well-defined opinions of a brilliant teacher with long experience in the field. So he starts the essay, he begins the essay by referring teaching as the most respectable profession in the world. But he says when teaching as the most respectable profession, he is of the opinion that the governments are using teachers as a tool. He spreads light on this issue, the functions of a teacher. So according to him, teaching is different from slavery. When he says government is using teachers as a tool, what he meant is teachers are slaves under the rules of different political parties or the institution where they work. So teachers nowadays do not talk about revolutionary ideas, nor do they help students to increase their creativity. But what they do is they just obey the authorities, they just obey the government. They have no passion for teaching, he says, and teaching has become a boring job since they have no free will. Since they are not given ample freedom to deal with their passion and their opinion, it has become a boring job for them. History is evident that teachers like Socrates were put to death. Similarly, Plato was thrown into prison. Now he is taking references from the history to prove that teachers were not given ample importance or teachers were punished for what they were doing. Regardless of that, they did not stop their doctrines. In the modern world, the situation is entirely opposite. So in the whole essay, Russell wants to prove that functions of a teacher in the modern world are very less. That is his aim, or that is the objective of writing this particular essay. So he says if they have any, they are beneficial for the state only. Every teacher is a puppet in the hands of government and system. That is why he says the functions of a teacher is very less, because she adheres to or he adheres to what the government says or what the system says, rather than adhering to her mind and her creativity. And in one context, Russell is afraid that teachers have no freedom at all. They can't teach as per their own desires, but as per the desires of the respective governments or the respective institution in which they are working. Russell is of the view that in modern world, government has reduced functions of a teacher. A teacher can't teach what he thinks best for his people, rather than his duty is to instill such beliefs and prejudices which his employers thought useful. So in this way, teachers have lost their freedom of teaching. So what a particular teacher is doing is nothing but just installing the views of the employer's thought. So he accepts that education is necessary for everyone and it should be given by the state, but boundaries should not be assigned to teachers. That is what he says. Teachers should be given ample freedom to deal with the children, to go on with his or her viewpoints, rather than putting lot of limitations and restrictions. He further argues that in vast majority teachers have become civil servants. Teachers' only attitude towards education is that of a propagandist, he says. Education is very in every country is different because it's based on their propaganda. So Russell gives some suggestions in functions of a teacher. Which are they? Through which the functions that he gives, through which profession of teaching can be reverted from slavery to creativity and revolution. So he wants the teacher to be highly creative. How can he or she be highly creative unless she is given the freedom for that? And same way, a teacher must be revolutionary in the sense she must she must advise her children or guide her children or direct her children to make changes in the society. It is through a teacher only we can bring a change in the society. We can guide the children so as to fight against the atrocities and prejudices in the society. So his intention is to save a teacher becoming a tool in the hands of the government. Based on biased attitude of a teacher really ruins the nation. Not only when she is doing nothing as creative with the children whom she handles, she is doing nothing but ruining the entire society and thereby the nation. So teachers should differentiate between right and wrong. So as far as Russell is concerned, the prime aim of or the primary function of a teacher should to teach the children to differentiate what is right and what is wrong, rather than put forward the ideas of the government. So if he is preferring his own nation, religion and culture without making difference between right and wrong, then he is not a teacher but a propagandist. He should teach his people what is right and what is wrong, and what is beneficial for a state and what is not beneficial for a state. So he thinks humanity is above all. That is what Russell thinks. So one of the major functions of a teacher is to teach humanity to its people. He should not twist reality as per desire of his government. At any extent, a teacher should not simply concentrate on the desires and the viewpoints of the government. Welfare of a mankind should be the first priority. If a teacher is preferring his own nation and country to the other nations and other countries of the world, then it means that he is teaching envy, pride and cruelty to his people. So when I read the most interesting or the most important idea or the very important point that Russell says in this essay is this: What did he say? If the teacher is giving more importance, or if the teacher is telling his pupils to love his nation, or he is simply trying to instill patriotism in the children, she is really teaching the children to envy, pride and cruelty. So while defining functions of a teacher, he says that a true teacher turns cruelty into kindness. In this way, Russell differentiates a teacher from a propagandist in functions of a teacher. So Russell is right when he says the functions of a teacher is to educate and teach equality. So doing so, a teacher serves mankind and promotes education. So Russell's philosophy is very much universal and acceptable. Moreover, it is practically applicable also. So in his whole life, he promoted love and peace. I told in the beginning, in the introduction itself, he was a teacher. He served as a teacher for a long time. So in functions of a teacher, Bertrand Russell's aim is not different. He wants peace for every country, each nation and all religions. A teacher must have the freedom. That is what he says. He should not teach what his employers want, but what is suitable for his pupils. That is a very most important aspect. What did he say? He should teach what is suitable and what is appropriate and what is needed for his people, rather than what his employer says. So Bertrand Russell, depicting the truth in his essay, really his opinions have worth. Factually, most of the institutions compel every teacher to teach his students state's prescribed education, or the teacher is supposed to follow the prescribed syllabus or the curriculum. He can't go beyond that. So in a very short time, a teacher has to prepare his students for the examination. That is the another drawback he is citing here. He says teachers have no authority to decide what shall be taught or what methods of instruction are to be. Even the syllabus, teachers have no hand in preparing the syllabus or the curriculum or the methodology. So he uses the word self-determination to clear that the teacher determines what is necessary for the pupils, but alas, it is not happening. And then he says the immense majority of educational institutions are hampered and controlled by men who do not understand the work with which they are interfering. He beautifully defends the teacher from becoming slave or a tool in the hands of government. Then he writes, the only way to prevent totalitarianism in our highly organized world is to secure a certain degree of independence for bodies performing useful public work, and among such bodies teachers deserve a foremost place. So he redefines the meaning of education through the statement, education does not mean preparing students for examination. It means to differentiate right from wrong while ignoring the concept of superiority of nations. So the mind of Russell is overworking of teacher. He says most teachers are overworked and are compelled to prepare their pupils for examinations rather than to give them a liberalizing mental training. The result is that many of them become harassed and nervous, out of touch with recent work in the subjects that they teach, and unable to inspire their students with a sense of the intellectual delights to be obtained from new understanding and new knowledge. He adds another suggestion here, a teacher should teach his pupils tolerance. Lots of custom difference are there between the nations. So a person who has no tolerance becomes furious on tiny conversational controversial issues. So custom and religious differences are two main reasons behind it. So if a person has no tolerance, situation may become worse. No custom, religion and society is inferior or superior to another, and no one should make sarcastic remarks about anyone. All are equal. So it is the duty of the teachers to teach the children understanding the importance of considering everyone as equal. If one makes the other should tolerate, hence tolerance is very important. It's an important trait. It is one of the most important functions of a teacher to teach tolerance to his students, he says. So suggestions of Bertrand Russell are very reliable and much adequate. His philosophy is very much acceptable. So teachers are facing similar kinds of problems. Students of every country are taught that their religions, their customs and their nations and their traditions are better than the others. So this should not happen, he says. So teachers hide one side of the story and teach only the other side. So in order to ensure a successful civilized future, every teacher and nation should reconsider their methods of teaching. They should follow Russell and adopt his methodology for a better future. So suffice is to say that Russell's philosophy says a teacher becoming a tool in the hands of government. So as a conclusion, I'll just read the conclusion. The functions of a teacher, however, is not merely to mitigate the heat of current controversies. He has more positive tasks to perform, and he cannot be a great teacher unless he is inspired by a wish to perform these tasks. Teachers are more than any other class the guardians of civilization. They should be intimately aware of what civilization is and desirous of imparting a civilized attitude to their peoples. So that's all about the essay Functions of a Teacher, written by Bertrand Russell. Hope you have understood. Thank you.